What's going on, guys? So we're back again with another gameplay video. This time we have Trent here on the left playing Soul Striker, and we have Perth Pro Players team captain Jimmy here on the right playing the new Red Broly deck. So just before we get started into the gameplay video, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Team Card Titan. So if you guys want any DBS Seal products or DBS singles, make sure you check out that link in the description below. And for all the people in Australia and New Zealand, check out their auction page on Facebook as well. Now, it's Jimmy, it's Broly, it has to be done, right? No matter what, if there's a new Broly deck, Jimmy's going to be on it for sure. So, it is very interesting. So, a very extra card heavy deck. Can do a lot of like really cool things. Obviously, the leader swing can buff it up to like 35k double strike with some of the extra cards that you get to use, which can be absolutely insane. Very, very scary. It doesn't put a hell of a lot of threats on the board. It's kind of like just one big boss monster. The big boss monster does a lot though. Does a hell of a lot, which can really just swing the game in your favor. But the fact is, they're both, the leader and that together, both very powerful in their own right. So it can do a hell of a lot for very cheap. And then Trent, he is playing the Gohan package. As you can see, a lover of Gohan. Man has good taste, obviously, right? SS2 is absolutely amazing form. The package is really cool to play, and it's really fun to play in Soul Striker as well. So, as we can see, as I said, very extra card heavy. We see extra card going down straight away. So, we're testing the opposition, right? It's interesting. It is one of those things that probably is important against this deck just because of the fact that Gohan can come down and swing with 30k and I guess 30k triple strike and dual attack technically with the effect, right? It's very, very strong. So it does a hell of a lot, this deck. So it is one of those things that like sometimes you do just need to hold the negates just for the 30k triple strike. Sad thing is, of course, if you negate the first one, right? Easy thing is they just clear that whole board. Your blocker's gone. There's no protection there unless you've got something else. So that's why I guess it can be kind of important to hold on to some negates in this matchup. And same for Trent here as well. You know, it is important to probably hold on to some negates here so that he can protect against that leader swing. Because if that leader swing's not connecting, it's not as scary. So we are going to, it looks like this combo ape. So perfect turn 2 for Soul Striker. It's like the ideal thing, I would say, for Soul Striker. Turn 2, you want to just do some draw 8s. Swing in, draw some more cards. Why not? And even in late game, it's very strong. So we are going to play this Unison down. And I guess this Unison really facilitates the whole deck, right? So the fact that it gains double strike on itself as well. So this is the other, I guess, the other card that goes along with this deck. The fact that it gains double strike, well, I believe it's got 3 extra cards in the drop area. You run, obviously, a hell of a lot of extra cards, so it's very easy to do that. Very easy to get them in the drop area with your leader effect, or you've got like combo cards that can be done, like Cease to Exist, excellent card just there. Is easy, just a free kind of combo for 5k. Put it in the drop area, you got double strike on that bad boy. Kind of scary, swing it in. So we are just going to swing in here, it looks like. Putting some damage through, why not? Right, and then I'm assuming we just pass turn here. We don't do a hell of a lot in the first few turns. So with that one, until we meet again, you've got to make sure it is in the main phase, right? So it is after you charge that you get your draw on that card, because it does come in the main phase, not in the draw phase. So we do charge, and then we do our second draw now, okay? It's not as good as Intersecting Fates, of course, because you don't just get them instantly and untap and things like that. But it's still a great card, nonetheless, right? It still does quite a lot. So we are going to swing in here, drawing a card. More than likely, we probably just do our draw ape and draw 2 more cards. I dare say, because there's probably no point not doing that. We don't really need too much energy here. It's only when the leader kind of flips and we start swinging in some double strikes for free, it gets really scary, right? That's when it is really, really scary. So let's see what he decides to do. I'm surprised he didn't go for like a combo card to then give that card double strike in going into this next turn. I believe it's 3 cards in the drop area for the double strike. I can't 100% remember, but I believe it is. We're going to hit another until we meet again. So why not? Dig, and then we just sort them out how we want, right? I'm surprised we could have obviously stacked our draw if we wished as well, so we could have hit that before if we we're going to go for that. But I am surprised. I think we probably should have just gone for the monkey here. Just draw 2 cards, and then we could do that the next turn if we wish. So we are going to pass turn back over to Jimmy. I assume we're probably going to charge another extra card here because we've got a hell of a lot in this deck, right? So that's kind of everything we'll see is that just very extra card heavy deck, right? But the good thing is so many of these cards can be comboed with and they have extra effects, which makes it really strong. So we are going to have a look for an extra card that we need. Hell of a lot in there, so we've got lots of choices. Choosing another Cease to Exist. I'm assuming we're going to pitch one and then probably combo one off to then give Double Strike to our Broly, unless Jimmy wants to do the Double Strike at a later time, right? Or potentially what he does is he Double Strikes on the leader as well, and then goes for the Double Strike on the Unison too, because that can be very strong as well, right? There's always that potential that he does that and tries to put some pressure early, get some cards out of Trent's hand, right? So we are going to go for the Demon Cometh, it looks like here. So putting our 3, that's it. So putting our 3 in the drop area, we're going to go draw 2 cards, right? So we pretty much just replace what goes in, okay, which is quite nice. And I believe now we've got our Double Strike on there because we've got 3 in the drop area, right, which is great. We also drew into the boss monster of the deck as well. And that's kind of, I guess, that's what we need is we need to be able to draw into these boss monsters to get some effects. So we are going to discard an extra card and then drawing up, right? So replacing that card and +1 extra as well, which is nice. And then we're going to go throw. Now, I believe this is the one that has the 10k and Double Strike. So we're going to throw that behind the leader. So really trying to force some damage through. And I guess that's what this deck wants to do is force that damage through nice and early so it doesn't have to play a long game. And then what they want to do is be able to, I guess, combo on their offensive turns, right? To take you down to low life. Or force you to use a lot of cards in hand. So there's not a hell of a lot of defense in this deck. So we are going to swing another Double Strike into leader. Straight eating a Dimension Magic, which is fair enough, right? We don't want to probably awaken this here. Because the thing is, Trent does have access to, hopefully, a Unison this next turn. And if he does have access to a Unison, it means that he can awaken and stay at a bit of a higher life total, which he would obviously prefer here. Trying not to go down too low against this deck. Obviously, as I said, so many things have Double Strike, which is rather scary. So putting them at 3 and then starting to swing through with Double Strikes all the time is rather scary. So we're passing back over to Trent, it looks like. So remember, as I said, just drawing one card first, we have to charge, and then drawing the second card. So just remember, if you do play that card, just keep that in mind in the future, right? So making sure we draw in the main phase as it states and not in our draw phase, that extra card. So charging here, I'm assuming holding on to that negate, but it looks like maybe we're going to slap it down. I'd probably hold the negate just for a bit of safety. It's rather scary, this deck. As I said, can do a lot of things. We're going to slap down our Unison, which is great. The perfect one for this deck as well. Now, he may even decide to start going for the Unison here. Right, there is that potential that he just starts swinging into the Unison, try to clear it off. He can take at least 4 markers off it, right, which is pretty good for him. Because I think the longer that hangs around, the better it's going to be as well. Potentially can hit all 5 if they can all connect as well, right? Because he's got 3 on board, plays 1 for free, and then potentially can pay 2 to play a vanilla as well if he's got another one in hand. And that'll be the hopeful thing here. So I think what we do is we just start focusing into the Unison and try to clear it off board if we can. So untapping 2. Now, Trent learnt from last time that we do untap 2, as you can see with the 2 fingers just there, right? Jimmy cannot use Testing the Opposition, unfortunately, here for himself. He is not down at 5 life. He is at 6 right now, so he can't use it for free. So I think Trent needs to take full advantage of knowing that, right? Because now he would need some other form of negate to be able to stop these attacks. But I think what we do is we swing in our our dual attack. So taking it down, okay? Take it down again, and then we free play into our 2 cost, and then hopefully have another 2 cost that we can play out. Now, I'm assuming he's got another 2 cost because he charged one just there. And the other thing we've also got access to, it looks like he's Tapion just there too, which is great. So what he probably needs to do is just take it down to 2 markers, and then we can go for it. So it looks like we're going to hit the Tapion. Spirit Boosting 1. So we're going to go Omen of Awakening just here. So we do have to remove a marker, take a life, right? So crit a life, sorry. And then that card, I believe, goes straight to the drop area, right? So straight to the drop area, which is rather sad. But we can dual attack, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if we have to take, I don't think it is like a Spirit Boost effect, so I don't think we do have to take a marker off our Unison. I think it's just the critting a life, but as long as the Unison is on board, you get that effect, which is much like Denial, but obviously it's a cheaper Denial because there's only one energy. Does have quite a few extra clauses to it, but it still is a very strong card. And we're going to keep this at 3 markers now, which I think is pretty good for Jimmy here. It's probably what he prefers, right? Keep it at a higher marker total so he can protect it. Sadly, no Saiyan in rest mode either this turn, right? Because that is always a scary thing. If he's got a Saiyan in rest mode, with that card on the board means that he's going to take no damage, which is quite strong. So that incorporated with the big 30k, right? Rather scary. Not many people are going to get through the 30k unless they can somehow get it off the board really quickly with an effect, which if they can't, it just hangs around and kind of acts as a big deadly defender unless they clear the Unison somehow, but you just try to protect that as much as possible. So going effect to Broly once again. This time going for the Unison, checking the top. Finding a card, extra card specifically, I believe, for himself. He's going to grab Carver's Awakening. Great card, obviously, being able to combo for free, making it 6, potentially comboing out a few of those pesky attacks, like your 20Ks just for 1 card rather than having to lose 2 cards. Especially in an extra card heavy deck like this as well, having that extra 1K combo can make all the difference as well, right? Just on the defense step, but also on the offense as well. Now, I would say what we do probably is we swing in, if we can play something first, of course, right? As the ideal thing is we play something, which he's going to do. And then what we're going to do is we're going to swing in with Leader on this front side, be able to discard a card, draw 2 cards, and then we go for our Awaken, right? So just getting max value out of this turn, and then we can hopefully use an extra card for free to get some damage through, right? Now, the great thing about this Broly as well, once again, I believe it is a double striker. It's a dual attacker with the effect as long as an extra card's been activated, which he can do for free on this next turn. I can't remember if this card has Deflect. I believe it probably does have Deflect, right? Wouldn't surprise me. Looks like we're going to go for the effect, milling and drawing a card there, so building up that hand. And then we are going to go for our Awaken. So I'm surprised that Jimmy didn't go for the swing on the front side to discard, draw 2, and then go for his Awaken, because I think that would have been a little bit more powerful here for him as well. Because if he did that, he would have seen a few extra cards in his hand. But it looks like we do have the double strike guy in the drop area, which is great, so we can actually go for the double strike on the Leader if this doesn't get negated. Taking it up to, I believe it's 25k on the swing, rather scary for free. But what he needs to do is he needs to swing with his Broly first, so that way he can trigger the effect to restand it. So he has to swing with the Broly that's on board first, I believe, is the way it reads, because it triggers on the first playing or the first activation of an extra card. So swinging with this Broly, which is the ideal thing. Once again, pretty sure this does have double strike. I'd be wrong if it doesn't, right? But I believe a big boy like that's going to have some sort of keyword skill to be relevant. And I'm pretty sure it is double strike, not triple. But he's going to be able to force some damage through here as well. Rather big swing. This guy's got double strike as well, the Unison, and then the Leader is definitely going to grab that double strike with the Leader effect, being able to do it for free, right? Now, this is the first time I think that Trent's played against this deck as well. It can be rather confusing, unfortunately. There are a lot of effects triggering at any time, right? So it is rather scary. So a lot of things. So swinging in, looks like we're going to try to force some damage through. Now, I'm glad that Trent didn't throw away that negate, so he's gonna do the Dimension Magic and untap an energy here, so making sure he protects himself a little bit, which I think is fair enough. Swinging in with Leader as well, right, once again. Now, what we're going to do is probably use the Leader effect. We draw, and then we use an extra card for free, and we're going to do the double strike plus 10k, and then we are going to allow the effect of that Broly to trigger to restand it, and I believe it minuses 35 or something like that off a card, which is absolutely insane. It's a crazy amount. It's going to clear pretty much everything. So the way you can restand and then swing with that double strike again we're going to really force some damage through this turn. He may even decide to go for the Unison to try to get that off the board to force another one, right? But I would say we just keep swinging face and we just try to make this get through, right? So I believe it's at 25 right now. The effect, we are going to discard and allow it to restand. I did forget that discard section. So we do have to discard specifically, I believe, that card to restand it. We remove a marker and then we also... we remove a marker and then we also get the minus 35, right? So Trent down on one marker now on this, which means that anything that Jimmy plays is kind of pretty safe. We are going to combo away that token. We're obviously just using the extra card there as the token, so we're just going to make sure that goes to the drop area at the end of the battle as well, just to make sure. And then I believe the extra card that we used off the leader effect does have to go to the warp, so we can't just keep recurring it, which I think is very fair. There is still 4 cases of that double strike there, though, anyway, because you're going to run 4, I'm pretty sure, in the deck. But the fact that you've still got access to it means it's technically, I guess, like 8 copies in the deck of that card, which is absolutely insane. And you don't have to lose cards from hand too much doing that. So we are going to swing in here. It looks like the double strike once again, I'm assuming into the leader, just trying to keep this pressure on and forcing some cards from hand. So I would say we probably combo up a couple of cards here just to try to force some damage through. Now we do have the Gigantic Meteora as well, I believe is the name of the card, and that card's absolutely insane. Being able to buff ourselves even more, right? And the fact that we can do that on that card that's swinging right now, which is already bloody huge, is pretty insane. But we could just throw like a Carver's Awakening behind it and try to force this damage through, and then potentially finish it off with the Unison swing here, because he's not really able to, I guess, isn't really able to interact with the Unison too much here, right? So there was always that potential that we can win off the back of the Unison here if we can force this damage through. But a hell of a lot of cards in hand as well. All of them extra cards, of course, right? That's always the way it is. But most of them do have combo, which is nice. So it looks like we are going to do the bean. Comboing up. Going for a super combo as well. So just really protecting. Obviously, a good choice in this situation because it's rather scary going down to 1 against this deck, as we've seen, or even just going down to 2 against this deck is rather scary too. So looks like we're going to Nimbus Master as well. We're going to set up our vanilla for this next turn. Yeah. So I believe we have comboed out there. So 25, 35, 45k, which allows us to combo out. Now we do get the effect of Nimbus Master. All right, so we do get to play a vanilla from the drop area. So the only real interaction we've got here again is probably Omen of Awakening to completely kill it. Yamcha can hit it, of course, but it's not going to kill it on the swing. But if I was Jimmy, I probably would say we hit this vanilla here. And then what we do is this last swing goes into the Unison to clear it off the board to force him to find another. But the scary thing is putting yourself to 2 life kind of sucks, right? But I think, look, what we can do is just clear this Unison off the board. Trent then will have to establish another Unison if he wishes, which I do believe he's got the Boo in hand. I didn't see a Gohan, sadly, so maybe he doesn't have it just yet, but I'm sure we're going to be able to see it here because we've got, right? So we can potentially go for the draw 8, draw 2 cards, swing the leader, draw a card, untap our 2 energy, so technically free, and then be able to go that way. Now, Jimmy has dropped the bomb here. So he has dropped the SCR, which means that all cards gain minus 5k combo, which is rather scary, right? This bad boy's got barrier. I believe he also pluses 10 on the leader the first time that he comes down until the end of the opponent's turn, which once again, rather scary, right? That is a huge, huge thing. We are going to swing, it looks like, the big 40k into the leader. Trent saying if only this vanilla had blocker, right? Then it wouldn't be a vanilla, so we wouldn't be able to use any of Gohan's effects, which would be sad. But it would be ideal right here. But 40k is a rather big swing. We do have 2 beans on there, though, so we can protect ourselves. And the scary thing is going down to 2 is rather scary, right, in this deck. Going down to 1 is rather scary in this deck because it is a double striker as well. So that's rather scary. But now Jimmy has a chance, I guess, or Trent has a chance to crack back. Jimmy has to now defend, right? So we have a potential to, I guess, falter here, right? Because we don't have a hell of a lot of combo in hand. Everything is extra cards, so there are a few that are, of course, but they do cost energy most of the time. Good thing here is, though, is 25. So 25 is rather huge. There's not a hell of a lot of cards that match the 25, but if he can get a triple strike through and get it to connect and be able to, I guess, combo enough cards, there is that potential that it'll just close out the game there if he can get that through. So let's see what he's found. I'm hoping he's found the Gohan here. Really do. Otherwise, I would say you potentially go for Boo, or you just go for Monkey. Swing in with leader, untap the 2, draw an extra card. So we've seen 3 cards for free, pretty much, which is rather nice for him. He may even decide to just try to kill the Unison here if he can, if he has the potential to do that, right? So clearing that off the board is always valuable as well. Gives you a little bit of extra protection going into the next turn. So few choices here. I don't think, unless he has the triple strike Gohan, I don't think he's really going to kill him. But again, Jimmy's got 2 energy showing, 3 life as well. So very easy to protect against, right? So it is that potential that he can just easily protect against, and then we're just wasting cards and wasting swings. But sometimes you do have to just give it a go, right? You can't always be afraid of the swing. So sometimes you have to just go for it and try to close it out. If you know you're going to lose on the crackback, which it looks like Trent's not in the best position, knowing that there's a 40k Broly and 2 other boys there, rather scary. The fact that he has that to face down, it may just have to be a Hail Mary turn, unfortunately, right? So there is that potential that he goes for that. So it looks like maybe it stops Unisons from being played, potentially. I can't exactly remember how this Broly reads. It's been a hell of a long time since I've seen it. It didn't really see a hell of a lot of play, unfortunately, but obviously with this new deck, being able to play it off that 6 cost, which comes down, is kind of perfect, right? It was only really used in Broly BR, and then I think sometimes in Gogeta, but that didn't really happen too often, unfortunately. So it looks like we do have a Gohan here. So we may go for the Gohan here. And try to swing in a triple strike. And just, as I said, you kind of just have to Hail Mary it almost. He can bottom deck everything, I believe, because I'm pretty sure you may not ignore barrier. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but if it ignores barrier, he can get rid of the SCR, which would be pretty good here, but maybe not. It potentially doesn't. I think it is choose all, which is rather sad, so he can't get rid of the barrier guys. Which means he's still facing down the same problem, rather big swing. So he's just really trying to think it out here and decide what the best option is, I guess, right? So he can play that, but it's not going to clear, right? Which is rather scary. And then I guess he's got the minus as well on the Unison. So he's got a lot of protection here with that Unison. And that's, I guess it's kind of important to play out that Unison and try to get rid of it. So I think maybe we can play the Boo. I didn't think it stopped anything like that. I think the thing that Trent was hoping was that he could bottom deck the big Broly off the effect, but he's not going to be able to, unfortunately. The only way he's going to be able to get rid of it is if he has something that ignores barrier, which Blue a lot of the time does not have something along those lines, unfortunately. Now, he's going to go for the Unison here. We are going to go for the negate, discarding another card, right? So you're getting that minus. So he's going to do it for free, okay? You get that minus 10 on the swing, and then you're going to get minus 5 on anything that swings afterwards, right? Always a great card in King Vegeta. Very sad that that's not really around anymore. So you got to play in some other things, which is always good. Like this deck, as I said, run heavy extra cards, but is really, really cool because of that, right? Something different. So it looks like we're going to swing Boo double strike into this Unison, which is great. So taking 2 markers off it. Unfortunately, once again, not able to clear this Unison, just hanging around which really sucks for Trent here. He needs maybe like a hatch or something that he can protect himself with, right? There is that potential he can get a hatch out, protect himself a little bit here this next turn, which he kind of needs. But I think what he wants to do is just, try to get these markers off this Unison as soon as possible, because it is rather scary facing down that Unison every turn. So we are going to throw a double strike behind it, right? So it gets -5 on the combo, but it doesn't matter. We're still matching. He can't combo out. We've cleared the Unison. Unfortunately, it did take a little bit of time to get through that, which kind of sucks. But if we have to do it, we have to do it, right? 1 energy left up, and then we get a flip 1 with Boo as well and restand it. Good thing is we've got, I guess, a blocker in Boo, so we can interact with that card on the board by blocking. Scary thing is we can't really interact too much with the leader attack unless we have some form of negate here. But it looks like we're going to just pass turn, hoping for the best here for Trent. It doesn't look too promising facing down the barrel of those 2 attacks, right? We just drew into a super combo as well off the draw for turn, which is rather strong too. So charging, taking us up to 5 here. So we do have another double strike in our drop area, right? So we can plus. So we're going to swing in. Looks like probably into leader, I would say. There's no point swinging anywhere else. We're going to try to close out the game, potentially on this swing just here, right? So let's swing into leader. Jimmy's going to use the effect, it looks like here. So we're going to be able to do the free combo. I would assume we go for the plussing again, so the 10k. Take it up to 25, and then we just throw everything else we've got behind it, and then knowing we've got a big 40k swing on the board to back it up if we kind of need to. So it looks like we're going to hit the Freezer Death Ball. So rather rude, right? So Freezer Death Ball, rather rude. Being able to minus this leader as well on the swing. Trent showing only, we've got a Unison in hand, which is rather sad. We're going to hit the Gigantic Meteor as well, which pluses even more. I believe once again that's a 15k plus or something along those lines, which takes it huge already. Plus we're going to get everything else we've got. So it looks like we're going to do that semi-arrival thing because we've got used 2 extra cards. We're going to bounce it back to hand. Doesn't really matter too much. Probably just do it again, I would say, if he really wants to. Super combo. And I'm probably just going to combo everything else left in hand, I would say, just to finish it off, because I think Trent's going to have a hard time, unfortunately, comboing out of this attack, right? So more than likely, it's going to be a big issue trying to combo out of this. So yeah, I don't even think he can beat that. And then obviously, as I said, we've got another big swing coming through, which is rather sad. Yeah, and Boo Unison rather scary, but the protection there is that we've got barrier on the big boy Broly. So there we go, guys. We got to see the new Broly deck in action. Unfortunately, Trent didn't really get a pop off with his Soul Striker, but still very interesting to see what this red Broly deck does. Right, a lot of extra cards, as I said, can catch him in some pretty shitty situations where they've just got too many in hand, can't combo. But that did not happen in this game. We had an excellent game. Able to put a lot of pressure through. It's probably just going to take some interesting new play styles. Hope some of you guys are checking it out as well, because it's always fun to see and play new decks. So I hope you guys are checking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. If you did, please remember to subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.